Alright, so the story today is what happened to Leith Von Stein.
Leith Von Stein.
Leith Von Stein. This was in the 1900s.
Okay.
And I love that last name. Von Stein.
It is a very pleasant name.
It is. It's like a like Frankenstein.
Stein.
Stein. Okay. So let's start with his life. He was born in Queens, New York on March 16th, 1946 to Howard and Mary Von Stein. Right?
Okay.
You know. They're good people. He's
Way to darn tootin'.
what are we tooting?
Where's the Legend of Zelda?
Oh my god, you're so right, Bessie.
Where's the
It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Wait a darn tootin'.
Oh. Oh.
Okay, you can't.
Oh.
You're not gonna be able to hear shit.
Oh.
I know. So sad.
See if he had the Elgato. I'm fine.
Where the fuck am I going? I don't know where I'm going. Oh, I'm going over there. Okay. So he was born in Queens, New York to pretty well-off parents.
Mm-hmm.
They were dope. They were rich. He was like, oh my god, I'm rich, you know? But he wasn't like a douche. And they were well off because, oh, ew. Go. Thank you. They were well off because there was this guy named Richard, which was Howard, the dad's brother.
Mm-hmm.
And he had started a dry cleaning business. And that was Camel City Dry Cleaners. And it started in Winston-Salem. So the brothers were like, oh my god, let's do this. Oh, did you see that sack of shit fly?
No, it didn't. It flew.
It was terrible. Anyways, so they started that dry cleaners and it was pretty fucking successful. Am I going the right way? No. No, I am not. It was pretty fucking successful. It was rated the most successful dry cleaners at one point.
What is it with dry cleaners?
I don't know. They always have good shit though. Like the Asian ladies always treat me right. And so, since the dry cleaners did really well off, Leith was set up to have a big inheritance. Because, you know, naturally. I go this way? Ooh. Ooh. I don't like that. Do I have arrows? What do I have? Okay, hold on. I have 3 arrows. Okay, anyways. He was set up to have a big inheritance. So, in school, he was the shy, talkative kid. He played football, which was pretty fucking cool. So he was like built, he wasn't pretentious. Even though he knew that he had this big ass inheritance, you know. I would be a dick if I knew I had that. I'm not even gonna lie.
I would too.
I would be such a dick. And when he finished high school, he moved on to the North Carolina State University. And at there, he studied engineering. I don't know what kind of engineering, but I do know
It was a type of engineering.
it was a type. Oh shit. I didn't mean to press that again. Anyways, it was very overwhelming for him. And he didn't have to finish school because he got drafted into the Vietnam War. He got drafted. He was a soldier for a little bit. He was a fighty boy. He went to Germany and he was honorably discharged in 1970. And then he went back to college, but he went to a different college this time. He went to Greensboro College in North Carolina. I feel like I'm supposed to be going this way. What if I just went this way, though? Yeah, I could totally just go that way. And it was there that he found an interest in computers. So, he got his degree in that. He got his degree in that and landed a job at Intigen, which is an insurance company. Or was an insurance company. I don't know if it's still alive today. I'm gonna be so real.
What is it called?
Intigen.
I don't know.
I don't know. But he was there. Oh my god, that's a big bitch. I'm gonna bomb him. Do I have a fucking... Please! Hi, bitch. Oh, fuck me. Alright, anyways. He worked at Introgen, and that's where he met the love of his life. Her name was Bonnie Bates Richard. And she is a divorced mom at this point.
Wait. Like Bonnie and Clyde?
Yeah, like Bonnie and Clyde.
I don't know that. I don't know the story. All I know is the name Bonnie and Clyde.
No, yeah, Bonnie and Clyde is not relevant to this one, but...
Oh, I thought it was. Damn, I thought.
No. No.
Yeah, all right.
No. Sadly, no.
Apologies. So Bonnie, what was the name?
Bonnie Bates Richard.
Bates.
And by this point, she's a divorcee. And she has a son. She has a son, and Richard was her previous husband. Not Richard, but like, you know, this bitch Richard, you know?
Right.
And she was like, you know what? I'm gonna live my own life. Fuck y'all. And that she did. That she fucking did. She did well for herself. Being... I hate myself. Being a single mother in the... probably the 80s at this point.
Right.
Do you know how much I hate myself? I can't shoot! Okay, anyways.
Oh. Oh.
And I lied. She wasn't a single mother of one. She was a single mother of two. And they grew up in Welcome, North Carolina. It was a very rural part. Aye, bitch. Give me your shit. Give me your shit. Oh, I died. Anyways, they grew up in Welcome, North Carolina, which is very rural. And the other Richard, the original Richard, was named Steve Richard. So, Steve Richard and Bonnie Richard, their story is at 18, she got married. She was still a senior in high school when she got married to this man. But that was like commonplace. And then when she was 19 and a half, she had a baby boy. His name was Christopher. Christopher.
Interesting.
His name was Christopher. If I could talk, telling you this story would be so much easier. It would be. And then when she was 21 and a half, so 2 years later, she was pregnant with a baby girl, and her name was Angela. So those are her two kids. And then she divorced them. She was the one that divorced Steve. Which, you know, go queen. Go queen. She divorced him when Christopher turned 5. When Christopher turned 5. So I'm guessing... Get up! Go! Okay. So I'm guessing like late 80s. Late 80s. Because she was 19 and a half when he was born. 19 plus 5. That's like 24. So she knew what she wanted. Then she started working at that insurance place, and she was making a living. Bitch. Beat your ass. Alright, anyways. She was making a living for her little family. Don't know what she was doing before then. It doesn't really matter. Her story starts there. So, Bonnie and Leith, since they were coworkers, they were like, let's start out as friends. I'm not gonna share where I eat, you know? Alright, for you... Let's change. And they were friends, and they dated for a couple years. They dated for longer than the average. So it was about 8 years before they actually married.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds about right.
Yeah. But back in the 80s, this was like incredibly long. Everybody was doubting that they would actually marry.
Oh, that's a long time in 80s.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But Leith was like, hey, you know, I'm in your family. I'm gonna kind of take a role for your children. I'm not just gonna leave them and cast them aside.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so everything was fine and dandy until the kids turned into teenagers, which is where the problems usually start. Is that a thing over there? No, it's not. I have to climb. Okay. Which is where the problems usually start, and that's where it did start. The teens did not like this man. Even though he was doing his best, they did not like him. They were like, oh, you're not my dad, blah, 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 blah. Keep in mind, the father, like the actual father, Steve, he did not initiate any contact with them. He did not ask Bonnie if he could have like any visitation. He didn't do any of that shit.
Right.
He was out of the kids' lives for the most part. And, you know, whatever. That's fine. Bitch. Anyways. The teens were like, you're not my dad, blah, 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 whatever.
You're not my dad.
Hmm?
You're not my dad. Oh, smooth.
And then Christopher is the oldest, right? So he graduated college. No, he graduated fucking high school. And then he went to college. He went to North Carolina State. But before that, his friend group introduced him to cocaine. To cocaine and acid.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm. So, the parental figures, rightly, were like, dude, I'm worried that you're just gonna become a drug addict. And he didn't take well to this. He's like, oh my god! Just let me live! And they were like, whatever. So he goes to college. Oh, I'm off the path. Feel like the path is up here. So he goes to college. And believe it or not, he is a drunk and a stoner.
Who would guess?
Who would have guessed? But since he lived on campus, being a drunk and a stoner was very easy for him to kind of just do whatever the fuck he wants. You know, the whole nine. Oh shit, I don't want to wake that bitch up. But I do want this bitch. And because he was doing all that shit, his grades dropped. He failed his first year and had to go to summer school.
Yikes.
Which now isn't that bad. But back then, if you were living on campus and you were fucking failing school, it's a little worrying.
Right.
But he eventually found himself in this D&D friend group. You know what D&D is?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes. Did you know I used to be in a club for
I
D&D?
did not.
I've never touched D&D. I just know about it.
Well, it's like you need a lot of mental capacity to be able to play that fucking thing. You do. It's hard to keep track of sometimes. So, the major part of D&D is planning, is creating storylines, is being very productive. Being very productive for your little imaginary characters to go on their little adventure. And oh, I forgot to mention, Bonnie and Lee were paying not only paying for his tuition, but they were giving him $50 a week for spending money.
What would that be equivalent to now money?
Let me see. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. Let me see. Do I have a date? No, I'm gonna just put... So they were giving him $50 a week. So it's about $116 in
Okay.
now money.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm. So they were giving him all this money. They were paying for his tuition just for him to blow it on alcohol and weed. Terrible. Terrible. So Chris goes home on his like little break before the summer school starts. And the tensions are high. Tensions are high. His parents are like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? Why are you doing this? And Chris and Lee argued. They argued. It was bad enough to the point where it almost got physical. And the only reason it didn't the first time was because of Bonnie. She was like, hey, you know, stop that shit. And it started again at dinner, same day. And Bonnie was like, it's fucking dinner. You're gonna sit down and you're gonna shut up. And they did. So Chris was like, you know what? I'm over it. I'm not gonna stay in a house or I'm gonna fight with my dad. So he goes back to school. And Bonnie and Lee were talking, and Bonnie was appointed to be in charge of the money for Chris's schooling and like how he's doing and everything. Because with Chris, things escalate. Alright, excuse me, I would like some arrows.
Oh. Huh.
Dog. Anyways. Bonnie's doing at school, he's, you know, whatever, he's fucking around. And on July 4th, Bonnie and Lee took Angela to go see the campus that Chris was staying at, but they couldn't find him. Chris was nowhere to be found. And, like, they asked friends, they called him, they searched around the campus, they were like, dog, where the fuck are you?
Right.
And, you know, he just stayed missing. He just stayed missing for a few days. Like maybe 5 days. And it was bad enough that Chris, the one who almost fought this bitch, filed a missing persons report with the police. And so when the little boy, when Chris, no, not when, yes, when Chris showed back up, Bonnie was like, listen, you're gonna keep the receipts to everything you fucking buy. And you're gonna give them to me. Because she probably gave it to him for like food and gas, because he had a car. Food and gas and, you know, just probably soap. He was probably stinky as fuck.
As fuck.
As fuck. And Chris was pissed. He was like, why the fuck would you do that? Let me live, Mom! And, you know, she did not let him live. She did not let him live. She was standing, or she was not moving in like her stance on that.
Right.
She was like, nah, you're spending it all on fucking drugs and I'm not having it. So then after they took Angela back to their house and, you know, everything was fine. Can I? After they went back home, Chris was like, oh my god, Dad, did your dad pass away? And his dad did indeed pass away.
Damn.
So Leith has this big inheritance waiting for him. He would get around $2 million back then. Let me convert it into today's. It's 200,000. Bitch. It's calculating. It's worth $465 million today.
Like, you said 465 million?
Yes, $465 million. And that was left to Leith. So Leith was like, you know what? Let me hold on to this. You know, let me save this. Let me add it to his existing life insurance policy.
Mm-hmm.
And his existing life insurance policy had Chris and Angela as the beneficiaries. And it was around $700,000. $700,000, and it had contingencies. So Bonnie would be the first to access it with a spousal trust. When Bonnie died, it would add $600,000 to a trust for Chris and Angela. But the thing is, they could only access it when Angela turned 20, not 35, when she turned 35.
35.
Mm-hmm. So if you think about it, they wouldn't see an ounce of this money until Angela was 35. Not a doubloon.
How old was she?
Hmm?
And how old was she?
And how old too?
How old was she?
I think she was in her mid-20s at this point.
Yeesh.
Yeah. Because they just took her to see the campus. And back then, it was common for women to start college later because they needed to learn how to be a housewife.
That was like a college, like they had to study for it.
No, but, you know, most women just stayed home and was like, you know what? I'm just gonna be here. You know?
Yeah.
So after Chris had learned that Lee's father died, he was like, I'm gonna kill this bitch.
Oh my god.
He was like, I want that money. And he was pissed that Lee wasn't spending any on him. And he became obsessed. He became obsessed.
Sure.
So, since he was obsessed, he told every living soul that he wanted to kill his dad to get his inheritance money.
Why would you do that?
Because he's a dumbass. Alright? Let me try this fucking wine. It's actually not bad. He's a dumbass. He went and he told every single D&D person that he knew. Oh my god, that bitch is all the way up there. Alright, whatever.
Oh.
Anyways, he told everybody. Every single body. Everybody that he could get his hands on. It's terrible. And it's terrible because he plays D&D. You need a lot of planning to be able to be successful at that game. And this bitch is not planning at all. He's not even thinking about it. He's like, huh? He's just being a dumbass.
Oh, money? Yeah.
Hmm?
Oh.
Man was just thinking about money and said, he looks really killable.
Yeah. He was like, you know what, that man? I'm gonna kill him. And he was like, you know what? Let's kill my mom too.
Oh,
He was talking about killing his mother.
what the mom do?
His mother and the man who raised him since he was 5. That's crazy. So, as Chris was talking to people about it, his 2 friends really stuck with him. And their names were Neil Henderson and James Bart Upchurch. I love that last name. Upchurch.
Upchurch. I've heard of Upchurch before.
Sounds like up dog.
You almost got me.
Oh.
Hold that one thought. I gotta go cut these.
You're like, huh? So Chris was like, I want to kill my mom and my dad. And they were like, well, what about your sister? And he was like, well, if she's there, we'll kill her. But if she's not, I don't see the need. So she was basically collateral damage. Which is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying that someone could just look at the person that they've been with their entire life, that they've grown up with, and be like, you can die.
Yeah, that's like a different type of just sociopathic tendencies.
Yeah. I was like, whoa. The fuck? So, they're talking, and he was like, you know what, James? Fuck you. Not you. The little light statue. Need to go up there. How the fuck do I get up there? He was talking to James, and he was like, oh my god, you know what? Once I get this money, I'm personally gonna buy you a restaurant, and we're gonna own it, and I'm gonna buy you a house for us to be in Raleigh, North Carolina. Not only that, $50,000 and a Porsche. So let me tell you how much $50,000 is. In today's, of course. It's $116,000. He was like, you know what? I got you, baby girl. So he promised both James and Neil $50,000. So that's what? Around $230 something out of his pocket already. A whole ass restaurant for James.
A whole restaurant?
A whole restaurant. And they would like co-own it. Yeah.
Right.
A house. And a Porsche. And he was like, you know what, Neil? I'll buy you something too. You'll get $50,000 and what else? What else do you want? And Neil was like, you know, I'm not feeling a Porsche. You know, I would really like a Ferrari. And so Chris was like, I'll get you that Ferrari. You know, you my man. I'll get you a Ferrari if you want a Ferrari. So he promised both of them shit. Truly tragic. And Neil kind of takes a back seat for a minute. James is the star of this story. So Christopher and James, they were like two birds of a feather. They were like, let's kill your family. It was truly terrible.
Yeah.
Their first idea was to drug all three of the people in the house and then set the house on fire.
That was the first idea?
That was the first idea. And so, Chris was like, you know what? That's the best idea ever. So, he went home. The day is now June 22nd. The day is now June 22nd. He went home for a weekend. He called his mama up. He was like, you know what? I miss you. And she was like, oh my god, really? And he was like, yes. I'm coming home. And she was like, oh my god! And then he came home. Where are you? Where are you? Do you see this motherfucking bitch? Oh yeah, there you are.
Oh, the weird plant thing that gives you shit.
Yes.
Just use your magic. Your little. You don't have any like custom
No.
contraptions.
No, I do not. That is for people that are good at the game.
Basic. You'll get her.
Yeah, I'm climbing. So, okay. The day is July 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
And
Damn.
he was like, you know what, mama? I love you. I'll be home for a weekend. Saturday, I gotta hang out with my friends, though. Yahoo! Fuck yeah.
Bye bye.
So Saturday, he was like, I'm gonna hang out with my homies. And she was like, alright. We come back that night, though? And he was like, yes. I will. Absolutely. He was lying. Lying through his teeth. It's a little liar. I have to go. Yeah, I have to go all the way up. Hate that bitch. But on Saturday, lo and behold, he would be going back to the college, which is around 2 hours away from his home, picking up James, and then driving back.
Okay. Why couldn't James just like head over there?
I don't know. Well, James couldn't drive. He didn't have his license.
Ah, yes. Murdering. A-okay. Driving without a license? Cheating. Oh my god, you fell so Hey, yo!
I got electrocuted. I got electrocuted.
I looked away for one moment, make my little cocktail, and I just see you falling, ragdolling down a cliff.
I got electrocuted.
Jesus.
Anyways. So, during the day, he picked up James, and he dropped him off like a block or so from his home. He was like, "You know what? Hang out here, and I'll pick you up once my family's drugged and asleep." So James is like, "Alright, fine with me." So he gets like a coffee or some shit. I don't know. And then Saturday night, he comes back to his family. And he was like, you know what would be nice? A barbecue. And it's already night at this point. It's dark.
Oh, wait, no.
And his family was like, you know what? That's a splendid idea.
There's no way.
Yep. Yep.
In the dark.
In the dark. Maybe they had like lights or something. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, being how they were, like, spakingly rich, I guess that would make sense.
Yeah. They were like rich out of their ass. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that there's lights up there.
I probably have fucking fog lights for porch lights, bro.
Exactly. I
Light up the
wouldn't
whole
doubt if
fucking
they had a
neighborhood.
porch. Light. Anyways. So, he makes these hamburgers. And he's like, you know what, fam bam? I love you all so much. Here is some patties with sleeping pills.
Oh, like hard ones or like crushed inside of the.
Like crushed inside of the... Like,
Oh,
yeah. So he drugs them up.
damn.
And pretty soon they're like, ah, Eepy boy. Eepy boy is me. They knocked the fuck out.
Mhm.
That bitch scares me. So, after that, after the family all goes to bed, after everything's fine and dandy, he goes and picks up James, and he goes back to the house.
Right.
And they try to set the house on fire at this point. They tried to crush the fuse, and it failed. Their plan failed. Their plan number one failed. And this is a point where I questioned it. I was like, did you not... Oh no!
So how did it fall?
The fuse didn't light on fire, which it was supposed to.
Mm.
And they were like, oh my god, tragic. Oh my god, get up! Okay. Fuse failed.
Right.
And then Upchurch, or James, is like, Chris? Shit. I have this amazing fucking idea. Let's go to Salvation Army. Get machetes and kill your family. And James was like, you know what? They're already on sleeping pills. Fuck it.
So fuck it.
Get him. He was like, fuck it. The only reason why it didn't work is because the Salvation Army is closed. That's the only reason that his family did not die by machete.
Yeah. So two plans already down the drain.
2 plans down the drain. Gotta listen to the universe at this point.
Right.
Is this really meant to be? So on Sunday, Chris and James went to buy that knife. And they were like, you know what? Plan C. Plan C. James is gonna be the one doing the stabbing. And, you know, all the killing.
Mhm.
And James was like, me? And Chris was like, yeah, you. You know, if I do it, it's too obvious. So you're gonna have to be the one to do it. And James was like, alright. And they were like, you know what? Just make it look like a robbery gone wrong. So not James, fucking Chris. Chris drew a map of the house where every valuable item was located.
An intricate fucking relay.
It was on like a paper. Like a paper ripped out of a notebook. He drew it and he was like, here you go. Best of luck. But the problem arose because Upchurch didn't have a license. He didn't have a license. He can't drive because he'd already been in trouble with the law before about that.
Right.
So if he gets pulled over and they're like, you know what? This is the third time that you committed this crime. I don't know what to tell you. You're going to jail. And James didn't want that. Nobody wanted that for him.
Yeah, jail's not cool.
Jail's not cool. And so, what ended up happening was... Ooh, I'm going over there. Okay. What ended up happening was... They hit up Neil. You remember Neil, right? From early in the story?
Yes.
They were like, Neil, I need you to drive him. Need you to be a getaway driver. And Neil was like, I want no part in this motherfucking shit. And they were like, no, you're not gonna be killing nothing. You just gotta... You just
He's like,
gotta
yeah,
pick
that's
him up and then drop him off.
He's like, yeah, that's called like association.
Mm-hmm. They're like, it's not too big, it's just some slight. And Neil was like, I do not want to go in the house. I don't want to do any of that. They were like, no, you don't have to. So Neil agreed. So the date is now... I think it's still July 4th.
This is all happening in the span of a day.
No.
Oh, just for that time.
Okay. So I got the date wrong on the first part with the sleeping pills. That was June 22nd, not July 22nd.
Gotcha.
And now we're at July 4th of 1988. Chris is back at school. He's chilling. He's like, alright, it's go time. He gave them the little paper map. He gave Neil instructions on how to get there. And off they went. So they got to the house around 2 in the morning on July 5th. And James was armed with a machete that they brought and a bat. James had dark clothes. He had a ski mask. He was like, oh my god, He was like, I'm gonna be a fucking classic ass robber. They're never gonna see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
So, James went in the house. He got a key. He got a key from Christopher. He got a key from Christopher, so he just waltzed. He waltzed in. I imagine him doing a little jig.
Little jiggy jig.
A little jiggy jig. And he went to the parents' room first. He was like, you know what? The biggest threat right now is Leith. So he killed that man. He killed him. And then
Yeah.
he was like, you know what? Oh no, I'm not gonna make it. And then he was like, you know what? Gotta kill his wife next. So he killed Bonnie. He thought he killed Bonnie. He didn't actually kill her. He only knocked her out.
Mm-hmm.
He knocked her out and then stabbed her in the chest.
Damn.
Yeah. She survived. And he didn't know Angela was home. So Angela did not get hurt at all. When the police got there, it was like there was blood everywhere. The police pronounced the dad dead on arrival. And they were like, oh my god, Bonnie's alive. So they immediately took Bonnie to the ER. They were like, you know what, mamas? You're getting the best care. You got it. You're gonna live. So the police go to Chris. They go to the campus. They're like, hey, your mama's in the hospital after a botched robbery.
Mm-hmm.
And so Chris was like, oh my god, take me to her. You know, he's putting on a world-class act right now. It's like, take me to her, take me to her. So, that motherfucker, the police take him. No! The police take him to the ER. And he's like sitting by his mom's side. He's holding her hand. He's crying. He's like making a whole stink out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Making a whole stink out of it. And while he's making a whole stink out of it, the police are investigating at the house.
Right.
So what they noticed is that nothing valuable really was missing. They were like, shit's moved around, but nothing was taken. And that was a key point in their third plan to make it look like a robbery.
Mm-hmm.
And the police found a backpack. Or a knapsack, as they called it.
A knapsack.
Do you know who that belonged to?
What do you belong to?
It belonged to James.
Oh.
And it was right by the trash can. Not even in the trash can, it was by it.
Why?
Why? Because he's stupid. And they also found a broken window next to the back door. and the back door just left open. But the back door had windows on it. So that didn't add up for the detectives. They were like, "Hey, why wouldn't you just break the window on the door?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's like... Can I please? Can I, pretty please? Anyways, why not just fucking break the window on the door and unlock it that way? But James, silly little James, he did not think of that. He's just a little guy, you know? No brain. Smooth brain.
Very smooth, right?
Mm-hmm. So, Neil and James, and Neil picks James up. He's like, "Dog. Whoa." And James was like, "Drive." So, they made a couple stops. One stop was to fill up on gas. Which, you know, I get it. I should have went the other way. Whatever. One of those stops was to get gas. Get it. Sometimes you're just out of gas. Oh, sorry, excuse me. But the other one was so that James can change into some different clothes. Because James was like, "Listen, I very incriminating things against me right now. I would like to change into some clothes." So they do. They stop in the fucking middle of nowhere. And he changes. And he sets fire to his machete. He sets fire to the bat. He sets fire to the clothes. He sets fire to everything that he used.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference... not the only difference, but the only thing is... metal doesn't burn.
Right.
So he set fire to the machete that he used and then left it in the woods. And then got back in the car and Neil drove them back to school. I think it's fucking wild. Ooh, what's in there? Ah! Where are you? Bitch! I swear to God, I swear to God, I swear to God, I swear to God, I swear to God. I swear to God, I swear to God, I swear to God. Wait! Oh, fuck it, I'm gonna steal that. Where are you? So they go back to school. And they're like, "I'm gonna move on with the rest of my fucking life."
Mm-hmm.
After that man just brutally killed another dude's family. Absolutely too. Oh my god. So the police are like, hey, you're his friends. What do you know? And of course they wanna be like, oh my god, I'm so innocent. So they cause no trouble. They're like, you know what? I don't even know what he was doing or what he was thinking. That's a tragedy. And they were like, what do you mean what he was doing?
Oh boy.
And they were like, nothing. And so the police was like, that's a little,
This.
that's a little suspicious.
Hmm.
But you know, it's just words. They can't really get them off of that. And so, okay, bitch. So, they were like, alright, whatever. But then, the police got a interesting call. It was from a pig farmer. Would you like to know where this... Would you like to know where this pig farmer was located?
Was it in the woods?
It was next to it.
Oh boy.
So this pig farmer was like, hey, I noticed something suspicious. And the police was like, really? And they were like, yes. There was this fire in the woods near my farm. Whatever. And I feel like something's a little off. And the police were like, of course. We'll check it out right away. And they did, and they found everything. They were like, machete? Clothes? Bat? So, they went back to the school, and they were like, let me talk to his other acquaintances. Oh, what up? Pardon me. Pardon me, pardon me, pardon me, pardon me. I'm just passing through. Pardon me. Pardon me, pardon me. And the people, everybody, every single body in that fucking D&D club opened their mouth. Good for them, by the way. Love that for them. They're like, oh my god, yes. That bitch was talking about killing his family. But he was there at the school the night it happened. So they couldn't pin him on it. They couldn't pin Christopher on it because he had an alibi.
Right.
So they were like, well, what about his friends? And they were like, oh, Chris was hanging out with Neil and James a lot. I don't know if that helps you. But you know, those three were like stuck like glue. And the police were like, that's very helpful. Very, very helpful. So they figured out that Leith had fallen into a large sum of money, which already, there's a motive.
Right.
Pretty fucking obvious one, too. Money. They were like, Leith and the kids weren't really close. Because they had been fighting and bickering. So, the police were like, I'd like to have you all in for an interrogation. And Neil and James agreed, but Chris did not. Chris was like, you know what? I don't need no fucking polygraph test. Or I don't need to be interviewed. You're just gonna put that fucking thing on me. And they did. They did. So they all got a polygraph test. And since Chris refused to do it, they couldn't really pin that on him, but they were like, he's our guy.
It's a little suspicious.
Absolutely. And it was just terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. For someone that is so detail-oriented and like a planner, you are making the stupidest decisions. I can make a draw like... Okay. You're making the stupidest decisions that someone can make in this position.
Mm-hmm.
So they talked to Neil first. And they were like, you know what? Just tell us what happened. And Neil was like, "Blah!" He told him everything.
Yeah.
Every single thing. And I'm like, good for you. But at the same time, fucking snitch. You know? I think, I can almost bet that his friends were so mad at him.
The cops probably like talked the hell out of him.
He was like, so, what happened first?
But just spilled the beans.
Bro just spilled all of the beans.
Even though they were beans to spill, and spilled.
He spilled them. So
He
after
spilled.
after the cops get everything they can from Neil, which was a lot. No! They arrested James. They arrested James Bart Upchurch on the charge of first-degree murder. So he was like, alright, whatever. And they arrested Chris as well. They were like, if I can't get both, I can at least get one. But I'm trying to get both. So both of them were arrested. And the police were like, listen. We know everything. You know everything. You might as well just plead guilty. And I can get you a deal. Which is eventually what Chris took. They got plea deals in order to testify against James. And after all of this happened, they got the autopsy reports back from Lee. Would you like to hear them? And would you like to hear what James did to him?
Yes.
So, Lee had 5 lacerations with a bat. He had 7 stabs to the back. He had 1 stab through the heart. You know, through the back as well.
Jesus.
And he definitely fought back. There was evidence of defensive wounds all over his arms.
Defensive.
So he put up a struggle. And at this point, Lee was only 42 years old.
No.
Only 42 years old. Truly terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So, they were like, you killed him. And they matched his, like, clothes. Because the clothes weren't burnt all the way. So he matched the ski mask and he matched the shirt, I believe. So, James's trial was in 1990, with Chris and Neil taking plea deals and testifying against him. Chris admits to part of the planning. He doesn't admit to all of it. He only admits to a little bit of it. And Neil admits to being the getaway driver. Is he up there? Where is this fucking prince, bro? Oh, it's him. Hello?
Is it really you?
I'd fuck this fish. My god. Swim your ways through my water.
It's good to see you, my friend.
Sorry. James got evaluated by a psychologist. And the psychologist said that he found an absence of violence, which was very interesting. Because they were like, you know what? I think that he detaches his thoughts and feelings from whatever his physical body is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because his parents were divorced, and they got divorced when James was older. So, James was there. He heard everything. So he probably learned how to disassociate.
Yeah.
And they brought up James's prior legal fucking history, where after high school, James and his friends stole a computer from the same high school they went to. And they broke into a random house and stole all of their alcohol, TVs, clocks, and binoculars. And throughout that trial, Chris was apathetic. Sorry, not Chris. I don't know why I keep saying Chris. James. James was apathetic.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, that's crazy.
That's wild anyway.
Honestly. He was like, I wasn't there for any of that.
No.
And so he had a charge. Another thing. A charge for reckless driving and driving without a license. And that's why he was so scared to drive. You know. When Chris first suggested it. He was like, Mm-mm-mm. Already been down that road. Don't like it. And you know, fair. But the only inconsistency that was found was the medical examiner was like, you know what, whoever did this was right-handed. And James was left-handed. But at the same time, if you're dealing with brute force, you don't go to your dominant hand.
No.
Because your non-dominant hand has more strength than your dominant hand does.
Interesting.
So that whole trial went on, and James was found guilty of first-degree murder, assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, burglary, and he was sentenced to life in prison. And he was up for parole in 2020. I don't know if he got out, but he was up for parole. Neil was found guilty for aiding. He was sentenced to 46 years, but he was paroled in he was paroled in 2000. So he only served 8 years. 8 out of the 46.
Yeah.
And Chris was found guilty for aiding and abetting in second-degree murder, sentenced to life for Lee, plus 20 years for Bonnie. He was paroled in 2007. And this fucking man, he was like, you know what? I found God in prison. So he found God. And now he's a preacher.
Oh.
Now he's a preacher. He goes to everyone. Not everyone, but he goes to like youth camps and shit. And he's like,
Ew.
Jesus. I think he's a pedophile.
Jesus.
I
Just Jesus.
Oh no, I need to go over there. I need to go here. And apparently, you know, his life has been turned around and he's been reformed and all of that shit.
Of course.
After everything that he realized he did to his family. You know, I think he's just a really shitty being and that he should not be out. At all. But that's just me.
That'd be great.
But yeah. That is the story. Leith Von Stein.
That's very interesting. I've never heard of that story. I said I've never heard of that story. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it really irks me about how children can do this to their family.
Mm-hmm.
You know? That's your family, bro. What the fuck is this? I don't get it. I don't think I ever will. I'm still kind of upset that he's out and about, preaching to children.
Yeah. Not gonna lie. That's definitely like a. Should you be doing this? And the answer is no.
The answer is always no. The answer is always no.
Lord.
Yeah.
I sneeze so much. I'm sneezing.
Hmm?
I'm sneezing a lot. Oh, why?
Best, I'm gonna be so honest. I heard you.
Sneezing. I'm sneezing a lot, and I don't know why.
Bless you.
Thank you.
You know what I told you that I started playing soccer?
Yes.
Every time a motherfucker sneezes, everybody just yells. They're like, "Salud!" They yell. And like, go them. I got so confused. I was like, why are you yelling? And they're like, the field is big. Do you want us to nut you? And
Yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah. And I was like, I was just confused. Okay, it's gonna be great. This is gonna work. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. Not gonna work! It's not gonna work! It didn't work. Will you just stay in midair? No, you will not. If I hit you. You stay in midair. You will. It's truly humbling. I thought I was an okay runner, and they were like, huh.
Damn.
You thought you were kinda decent? Nah.
That's so unfortunate.
I was so sad, bro.
I'm so sorry.
I was like, how do I get better? And they were like, you just come. And I was like, okay. There's one thing I know how to do.
Run?
No.
Oh. What might that be?
No, because they said come.
Oh. You were so funny.
I'm hilarious. I'm so
I
glad
almost
you
died
noticed.
laughing.
Hmm?
I'm gonna lie, I almost died laughing. For
You
real,
know
for real.
what? Valid.
So this lady needs to call me back so I can get the confirm for this fucking apartment. Please.